Hey, Travels with Dottie here, and today we have an article on immigration. And immigration's kind of a fascinating thing. It's really easy to forget that when we look at our family trees, we're all immigrants, all of us. Yeah. Even technically, if you're a Native American, if you go back far enough, there was a migration to this continent. And unless you live in the part of Africa where human beings were thought to have first been discovered, then everyone is from someplace else. So let's get that out there right away. One one of the things that I didn't realize for sure, and doesn't really surprise me, is that the U.S. is home to more immigrants than any other country. More than 45 million people are immigrants living here, according to census estimates. That's 13.6% of the U.S. population. About the same as it was a century ago. But over the years, we've seen significant shifts in where immigrants in the U.S. come from and where they end up once they get here. Number one country of origin is Mexico. And that's not a big surprise, right? Number one, but what is a surprise is the proportion of people immigrating from Mexico has been on the decline for more than a decade. Which means, by definition, other countries have been increasing, right? So let's look at ranked the number of immigrants by country of origin, right? In the first one, no surprise, is Mexico at 10.7 million. And then I'm going to read a series of countries in order of the number of immigrants. You ready? India, China, Philippines, El Salvador, Vietnam, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, and Korea. Surprised? Me too. The statistics include both immigrants who come to the United States legally and those who are living in the country without authorization. So it includes everyone. Looking only at the population of undocumented immigrants living in the United States, the list of the top country of origins shift slightly. Department of Homeland Security reported in 2021 the top 6 countries of origins for undocumented immigrants were Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, India, Honduras, and China. So there's a little bit of shift, and I don't think that comes as a surprise either to Mexico and Central America, right? Because there's so much turmoil and horrible things that are going on in places like El Salvador and Guatemala. So that doesn't come as any surprise. Things have changed quite a bit. Back in the 60s when I grew up, Mexico didn't always top the list. The portrait of U.S. immigrants in that decade was dramatically different. Immigrants from Europe made up the vast majority of foreign-born population in 1960. So that is very different today. Let's see, what else can we do? And if you look at a chart here of the proportion of Europeans, African, Asia, Americas, to change so significantly? Well, it has to do with a quota system passed by Congress in 1924 favored immigrants from Northern and Western Europe and excluded Asians. But in 1965, the Immigration Nationality Act created a new system, prioritized highly skilled immigrants and those already who had family living in the country. That paved the way for millions of non-European immigrants to come to the United States. It fundamentally changed the demographics of the country. For decades, immigrant population in the United States have been decreasing, but the new law also sparked a dramatic increase in immigration in the decades that followed, fueled by family reunification. In 1965, the 9.6 immigrants were just 5% of the population. Fast forward to 2021, 45 million immigrants make up nearly 14% of the country. Just like you and I and our families, immigrants who come here work, they consume, they keep the economy going and help to expand the economy, and they bring in new traditions, new ideas, different perspectives. And, in some circles, the word diversity has become a dirty word, but diversity is a good thing. Diversity is how we see that there are other ways of thinking in the world, and it expands our own experience and our own minds to include things we didn't know about. It increases our knowledge, and it ultimately increases the joy that we experience in life. So immigration, it's a good thing. It's a thing that has always been part of where we live and who we love. See you tomorrow.